Hi, how are you doing wherever you are? Welcome to Stories of Significance Founders Breakfast, the very first episode. I just want to let you know that this program is sponsored and powered by Cafe Point, everyone's living room, located in Nyerere Avenue, Mombasa. Serve Skills Limited, a training and management consulting business, and Close the Gap Hub, located in Ratna Square in Mombasa. And today we have a very important guest in the house, and she is none other than Fatma Mazrui, the director in Motion Deliveries. Let's get the conversation going. Fatma, how are you doing this morning?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. How has been business this year in 2022?
Let's just say since we are just midway, business has been good.
It's been good.
Yes.
It's been good. Now, tell us what you do, actually.
Motion Delivery is a logistics company. We currently operate just within Mombasa County and some of the neighboring counties like Kwale and Kilifi County as of now. So basically, we are supposed to be the logistics partner for MSMEs, which translate to online sellers at the moment.
Okay. It is interesting. I would like to know when you started your business.
We started in 2021. That's last year, May, officially May.
Officially May. I mean, I'm just wondering, we are getting out of COVID-19 and you're just starting a business. When is the right time to start a business?
Any time is a right time. You can't necessarily say that you want to have all factors constant because things keep changing. So sometimes you just have to go out there and just start, because you can't necessarily have a condition that is just conducive for you.
Okay. And what is the story behind In Motion? Just as I asked, it's post-COVID-19. There are other delivery companies in Mombasa. What is the story behind it? What inspired you to begin In Motion Delivery Services, which of course I have benefited from it. So thank you for starting.
You're welcome. So this is in my first gig. My first company was in 2016. Back then I used to call it Nitume Online. But I'd say delivery was not really a thing that people had really grasped. People had understood the concept. And I think also in part there was failure on my side in concentrating with some aspects of the marketing. I was just concentrating on partly online and partly door to door, but at the same time I'd say I'd not really invested a lot of time and also manpower in the business as opposed to now. So I closed up in 2019, and just as I closed up January 2019 is when now the competitors came into the market. And funny enough, as I sat at home, it just hit me during COVID how now everybody understood the importance of having the delivery. Because I used to say the local delivery is going to be the next big thing. That people really didn't understand the concept, especially the online sellers. Now, post-COVID, I have a good friend of mine. Her name is Jamila Al-Jabri. So she used to really stress me out. Absolutely every other day she'd call me and tell me, do you know, I've just had a delivery and this is my experience. Why don't you just come back into the market? Because absolutely everybody is doing delivery, yes, but they're not doing what you used to do or what you could do. Because if you put your mind into it, we know that you're going to give us a very good experience. At the same time, because we were working from home, including my husband, and I had a very young baby at the time, I remember having deliveries being done. So I'd order for food. For example, if he says, okay, for today, just don't cook, let's relax, let's order for dining in. So I'd call and I'd strictly say that I'd want my food at home by 1:15, so that we'd have lunch at 1:30. But the meal used to come at around 4. The meal would be turned over in the box and it would be completely cold. So he'd be so upset and he'd tell me, how would you do your delivery? So I would explain to him, because when we got married, he used to see some aspects of it before I decided to close down. And he was also another supporter who used to tell me every day, you know, this is a very good business concept. Why are you closing it down? Why aren't you really taking care of it? But at the same time, I'd like to believe it's because I didn't really have enough time for it as opposed to now. And I feel emotion was born from that conversation during COVID, because that's when we went out and decided to register the company and everything, and then the documents came out last year, and emotion came to be.
So that's, if I'm listening to you clearly, it means you have had people who saw something in you, even after sometimes you feel you didn't see something in yourself. And
True.
For this case, we see Jamie and we see your husband Fahim. Family.
Yes.
They see something in you and they push you to go ahead and do it. That's amazing. All entrepreneurs out there, ensure you have somebody who sees something in you. This could be your friend, like her friend Jamie, and it could be your spouse, in this case, Fami. Is it?
Yes.
All right, let's move on. So since last year, you began in 2021, how many clients probably have you served? And how has been a little bit of the experience?
So by last month, May, since we're in June, when I looked into the system, we have served a total of around 6,300 deliveries. Thank you. 6,300 deliveries, and the number of contacts we're around 10,000.
Wow.
Yes.
That's massive.
So it should really tell you something that we have a lot of repeat customers and new customers.
Wow, that's massive. I mean, within 1 year, that's a lot. And I'm tempted to ask, what is your secret spice? What's your secret spice in running in motion?
Well, what secret is there? Keeping up with the trends, I'd say, and always knowing what sets you apart from other people. It's not really, for example, when you're in a race, you're usually told just focus on the end goal.
Yeah.
Don't keep running and looking at the back. So I'd say for us, it's us understanding who we are and where we want to be, and not really focusing on the noise, which is probably the competitors and anyone else who might be against what we are doing. Yes.
Wow. Another wisdom drop over there. You know, as much as you want to succeed in your business, find ways to eliminate the noise, or to regulate the noise so that you focus on the main goal. And sometimes competitors, is good to understand that you have competitors, but then the focus is not on the competition. The focus on delivery of your services or products, is it? All right. So, many entrepreneurs, startups, or wannabe entrepreneurs have this big question they struggle with. If today I was to ask any young person, any youth, for example, or even a grown-up, why have you not started your business? They will tell me, I do not have capital. What is your perspective about starting a business and capital?
Well, if I say that capital is not important, I'd be lying. because any business, including the ones that for a hawker, you need startup capital for you to get the goods for you to start selling. But at the same time, I remember I used to tell my sister, because I had the idea of starting up in motion since 2019, mid 2019. So every time she'd ask me, so when are you starting? I'd tell her, natafuta pesa. When are you starting? Natafuta pesa. So finally one day she just told me, the more you sit and procrastinate on saying natafuta pesa, natafuta pesa, natafuta pesa, you're waiting to get a million shillings for you, probably, just hypothetically, you're looking at a million shillings for you to start your business, then you're setting yourself up for failure and disappointment. In the sense that as you're sitting and waiting, there are other people who have a similar idea and are going to begin. So whatever you have, budget it, plan on it, and see how you're going to prioritize things. So what is the priority? The priority is for you to get an office space, budget for that. Your priority is to have staff, budget for their salaries. Your priority is to get the motorcycles, budget for it. Whatever else is a priority, then know that this is what I'm going to start with and keep the ball rolling from there. But for you to sit, procrastinate and say, you know what, I'm waiting to have 1 million shillings or 500,000 for me to start the business, that is you really setting yourself up for disappointments. Yes, it's true, you can start from as little as 5,000 shillings. And sometimes you don't necessarily have to go out there and look for a shop. You can just start from home. You do have the goods, why don't you do your online shop? Start from there. Slowly but surely you'll be able to come up with your own shop. No, look at people like, for example, Maureen Bandari. Maureen Bandari simply started off selling from home, an online shop of her beauty products. But right now she has her own store, physical store as of last year. So what makes us think that it's so possible for you to start small and grow from there? But it's so possible for you to say you're going to start big and expect to get the returns immediately.
Wow. I think the key point here is to start from wherever you are with what you have. And then the journey, they say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And that single step is what you have, your legs.
Kabisa.
You start the journey. All right, so I have heard you're a wife. I've heard you are a mom. And I know now you are a business lady. So the question is, how have you been able to balance? Have you been able to balance this?
Well, obviously, tasema God. Huh? Because you need a little bit of sanity in your life, and we'd say God has been a good place for me to go sit and let loose. But other than that, I'd say having a good support system. In my case, I'd say my family, my husband, my sister, my mother, they've been a good support, including my friend Jamila. They've been a very good support system. People that you'd say, you see, this baggage is too much for me. I need somebody to help me along with this. So sometimes my husband would be like, okay, no, it's okay. You go to work, I will stay with the kids. Or you need to go to do ABCD, I will help you out with this aspect. Like for example, for the business, he does help me out, seeing as he specializes in human resources. He does come in, he does help me out, especially with the human resource aspect of in-motion delivery. So I'd say your support system is the best thing that you could ever have. You must have people that you can count on anytime you need a moment to breathe.
Wow. God support system. I was wondering whether I can be mentioned in the support system. I need to pull up my socks.
No, you could be, one of the many.
I could pull up my socks, but it's really it's important that entrepreneurship can be tough. Having a support system is like having a massage after an accident.
I mean, sometimes
important.
we take it for granted, but I'm so sure that out of 100 people that we surround ourselves with, there are those 2 or 3 that no matter what, we can rely on them to say, okay, see, I don't have a maid for the day. I need to drop my kids somewhere, someone to take care of them so that I can attend to a few things for 2 hours. It's important. If you can't tell me that you don't have somebody in your life that if you know you do not have, then just know you have a problem.
Right. So let's move on. If you had to see yourself as an animal, which animal will you pick and why?
Well, hey. I've never. Which animal? Well, okay, let's say I'll be a chameleon because I love to adapt to change. See, with my social media marketer, for example, and I'll just put this in a way that people can probably understand. For example, we come up with a program for the whole month. Then something happens midway that warrants a change in the way we want to deliver our information.
Yeah.
So it's always possible for me to say, you know what, let us stop this, let us restructure this message to fit the situation that is currently happening or taking place. So I believe I'm the sort of person who adapts easily to change. I don't say no to change. So a chameleon would best suit me.
Right, adapting to change. I love that because change is inevitable and life by itself is actually change. So maybe you could look at the camera and tell the world why people need to believe in you and the emotion delivery.
Well, post-COVID, I'd really want people to understand that we know the effects that COVID had on a lot of us, especially those who are employed and found themselves at home without a job. I know a lot of friends, former colleagues, and neighbors that resorted to having their own online businesses. Whatever you're good at, and you're sure that you have a few savings that you can put into the thing that you have a passion for, why don't you put it in there? InMotion Delivery is there to support MSMEs. Online sellers are MSMEs. They are the next big thing. You do not necessarily have to have a physical shop for you to work. You do not have to break the bank for you to be visible. InMotion Delivery will be your logistical partner.
Wow.
We will help you grow as we grow together.
Wow, that's amazing. You deserve, a standing ovation. But now that I'm alone, I can only give you a clap.
Let's hope they'll be clapping from home.
All right. So it's been a nice conversation, but we can't conclude until you tell us a few lessons you'll want all entrepreneurs out there to put in mind as they build their businesses. I know I've picked a few from your shares, but then again, what are your 3 lessons that you will tell the entrepreneurs out there and founders especially out there that they can be able to, think about, reflect upon as they run their respective businesses?
1, benchmarking. When I talk about benchmarking, you do not necessarily have to go somewhere physically. Right now with the internet, everything is possible. So you benchmark with what local trends are, international trends, people in similar businesses as yourself are doing, and you work from there. That is 1. Two, you work with what you have. Work with what you have. Don't look at your competition and ask yourself, how can I get a similar thing? Work with what you have. You never know. Maybe your competition is looking at the little that you have and asking themselves, how can they get that? So I'd say for me, those are the two. And then the third is, in the event you do get a team to work with, a team could be even one person, invest in educating them, in training them properly, because they are a reflection of your services, of your company.
Wow. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. But I love the last bit, because that's the core of what we do. Invest in training and developing your staff. I mean, a CEO asked, somebody asked actually in a conversation with a CEO that, what if we train these people and they leave? And then a CEO responded and said, what if we don't train them and then they stay? Can you imagine the incompetence in that organization? So that is important. It has been amazing hosting you, Fatma, and here are a few things I picked from you. Number one, as a founder, it is important for you to adapt to change. We live in a very dynamic world. I mean, all of a sudden you wake up, it's COVID-19. All of a sudden we are even in an electioneering period. You never know what's happening. So it is important to adapt to change. Most importantly, be aware. Awareness is important. Be aware of the competition, but remember, the competition is not the focus. Delivering your services to your customers in a committed and a consistent way is your focus. And that's how you build your brand. And if in any case you have a team to work with, it could be suppliers, it could be even your customer. Actually, no business does not have a team, because your customer is your team. It is important to empower that team. I mean, InMotion is one of those companies, after 1 year, they even invested in training their team. We are happy to have collaborated with you to train your team and offer team building services. And bring on board people who believe in you. Have a support system. I'm happy to see Jamie somewhere around here smiling while we are having this conversation. That's a support system. I mean, even spouses supporting, it's so important. If you happen to have one, don't take them for granted. And that's what you said, don't take them for granted. Most importantly, if you are out there and you're having an idea, something is arousing you to start something, don't wait for things to be okay. Things will never be okay. But you starting, you might actually contribute to things being okay. The world can become better if each one of us went out there, stood out, and did something they have been wanting to do.
Definitely.
And because you stood out, here we are having this wonderful conversation.
1 year later.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been amazing having you on our show, Fatma, and we wish you and the InMotion Delivery team all the best as we kick off another year. We look forward to celebrating your second year with maybe $1 million in the account.
Touch wood.
Yes. So that's the dream. It's about growth. And we see, and the message to our listeners and people watching this show is to tell them, we wish you the very best. We believe in you. And just to remind you that this program is Stories of Significance Founders Breakfast, our very first episode, where we have hosted the director InMotion Delivery, Fatma Mazrui, and this program is brought to you by South Skills Limited, Cafe Point, Close the Gap Hub, and the baby in town, King TV by Kevin Mbeva. Until next time, see you there.